Welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining. This is Chronicle, an actual play podcast where we play a pretty homebrewed campaign in Pathfinder 2nd Edition. My name is Justin Burnside. I'm the game master. And with us, we have our players. First is Ellie Cameron.
Hello, I'm playing Vola Thornshadow, the Orc Rogue.
And then we have Becca Anderson.
Hello, I'm playing Maggie, a bard gnome.
And Jared Stees.
Hello, I'm playing Tack, a hobgoblin swashbuckler.
And last but not least, Joe Anderson.
Oh, it's definitely least. But I'm playing Blissful Mushroom Haze, better known as Dave, a Leshy kineticist.
You know, I don't think we've ever actually said his real name, have we? Maybe in the very first episode.
No, you know what? I remember listening to it. You had asked me what his name was, and I completely spaced on it. And I didn't answer the question at all. I remember listening to it later, and Justin was like, and maybe you can explain to us, like, about his unusual name. And I just completely glossed over. I was nervous.
No, that's fair.
First episode jitters.
You were like, oh yeah, Dave is pretty unusual.
Oh, yeah.
Well, the nice thing is what you can always say with Dave. If you mess something up, it was completely in character, and it was because of the pot.
There you go. He's on that wacky tobacco. He's been hitting too many mushrooms.
You were going to give us your true Leshy name, but then you got high.
Yeah.
And then I got high. And then I got high. And then I got high.
An AMM, an Afro Man moment.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
So if you like our show, please consider sharing with your fellow TTRPG friends, leaving us a review, and maybe even joining our Patreon. It helps me keep my kids warm in the wintertime.
Woohoo!
Easier than burning them, let me tell you.
Jesus Christ.
So to recap, last episode, you guys traversed into the Casimir sewers to get what was... to get to the bottom of an ambush that you guys were the victims of in the dockyards and a bounty that was put on Vola's head. Your initial plan was to go in peacefully, pretending that Vola was your prisoner and you were to claim the bounty. However, playing nice proved to make the situation a tad hairy as you guys found yourselves in Nag's warehouse, surrounded by their henchmen and a bronze-plated guardian. A fight did, of course, break out, but you guys successfully dispatched many of the thieves as Vola confronted Nags, who turned out to be a member of her former thieves' troop. Her name was Lyria. After some words, the hostility kind of died down, and you guys learned that Lyria suspected that the heist that led to Vola's arrest was doomed to fail from the beginning, and that there was a rat. And she believed it to be Vola, and when she learned of your presence from, was it Shoeless Jeff?
Shoeless Jeff.
I should have killed that guy.
It's no shoes, Jeff.
No. You would have never met found your old friend had you killed Shoeless Jeff. Shoeless Jeff is a matchmaker. Once she learned of your presence from him, she issued the bounty. And afterwards, what was a fairly rough fight, mostly because it was kind of 3 encounters in one. You guys didn't walk away unscathed, but you guys all survived, headed back to the Three-Legged Frog to kind of patch up, rest for the night, as you knew the next day your ship back to Absalom would be arriving, in which you would go back, join the ceremony, as you would all be inducted into the Pathfinder Society as full-fledged agents.
Woohoo!
As you are all waking up in the morning, you guys are also now level 4. Would you guys like to go over your level changes, or would you like to not?
Yeah, why not? You can always edit it out if it sucks.
Ellie, we did finish you, right? With your level up stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. I have horrible short-term memory. It's it's the Dave effect. Denver 420. All right. So the next morning after your encounter at Nag's warehouse with who we now know is Lyria, not Nags, you guys all woken up, patched up, full health, I'm assuming. Shortly, you know that your ship is to arrive in about an hour or two to take you back to Absalom.
Dave's just gonna scrape some mushrooms off his shoulder and just be like, "You guys want some tea?"
It is made from your body?
All food's made from somebody's body, man.
Dave, I don't think that is correct.
Plants, animals, what do you eat?
I photosynthesized this.
Soak up the sun, man.
You guys all packed up, ready to go back to Absalom. You guys find yourselves on the familiar docks of Casimir. There are crews bustling back and forth, bells ringing in every direction. You see at the dock assignment that you've found, a large ship has just anchored. You see a polished hull glistening in the sunlight, adorned with intricate carvings that tell stories of distant shores. As the gangway meets the docks, you see passengers of all walks of life depart. One man sticks out, however. He's a tall, slender man with a fairly dark complexion, not a single hair on his head. He's wearing, you can see dark leather armor underneath a sand-colored cloak. You see him pause at the top of the ramp to scan the crowds that you guys are amidst, and his eyes land on the five of you, with Little Rain trailing very closely behind you guys. As his eyes land on you, he immediately takes off in your direction. He's followed by a group of 4 men that seem to be carrying a lot of baggage. As he reaches the bottom of the gangway, Tack, you immediately recognize this man as a fellow Pathfinder Society agent by the name of Nezzabubu. He likes to go by Nez. Once he reaches you, he kind of takes a moment to study the rest of you, gives Tack an acknowledged nod. Everybody else can probably see a little bit of history in that nod. Maybe not Dave, he might be too high. And he says, here are the trainees to be inducted as fully fledged agents. I know your expectations were to depart on this ship and return to Absalom, but there has been a change of plans. And you can see the 4 men behind Nez much better now. They're all other agents as well. And the baggage that they've been carrying, you can assume is equipment of some sort. No, so we're not out here standing underneath this sun. There's a meeting place that I would like to all of us to go together and go over what the new course of actions are. My name is Nezzabubu, for those who have never met me. I am also a Pathfinder Society agent. I typically reside in Nex, but I have been sent here to assist you all on this new mission that you have all found yourselves on.
Well, let's get out of the sight of all these folks and find our way into some privacy. After you, sir.
I haven't been here in some time, but there is a tavern that I particularly like, and it is not that godforsaken 3-legged frog.
Oh, we quite like the 3-legged frog, dear. It's lovely in there.
I've been pickpocketed one too many times in that establishment.
Well, you lead the way, Nezzabubu.
On that note, Tack would definitely be looking at Maggie with a scold. Like, what the fuck?
Cole is gonna stifle a snicker.
Maggie's just gonna smile at everyone.
Maggie, was it?
Yes, dear.
Your spirit is invaluable to a team. Never lose that.
Thank you, dear. You know, I'm always thinking that my dear husband used to say that my spirit was more than a shoebox could fill, that's for sure.
He doesn't seem to smile. But his face does get maybe a little softer in the features, and in the Pathfinder Society, you'll find a few, such as myself, that are a little colder on the exterior, and the world needs people like you sprinkled in among that.
Oh, good skirnal. Soften that hard face right up.
Getting them fat.
That was more wholesome than I was expecting.
That was, right?
Especially being tax friend.
I didn't get slapped.
So he leads you all to another tavern. Outside you see a wooden structure that looks like a troll with a cup in hand, with a mug in its hand, and below it, carved into the statue, is the thirsty troll. And inside is it's a little smaller than the three-legged frog, a tad more quaint, and the four gentlemen with the equipment kind of break off from everybody else. They talk to the barkeep, the small, very stocky dwarf man, and they head up some stairs to some room, taking their heaps of equipment as Nez gestures towards a table in the corner for everyone to take a seat at. You see that the tavern is fairly empty right now, probably to change soon as a very large ship just docked. But he beckons you all to take a seat, as you've noticed from the docks to here that this man carries himself with a lot of grace and purpose, constantly standing up tall, but not too cold, just very purposeful.
Is Rain and Cloudy Day with us still, or did he go with the...
He is going to stay with you guys.
All right.
It's quite cozy in here.
I like it. But Dave will proceed to have more mushroom tea and offer some to this Nez next to him. You want some, man?
Dave, it was?
Yeah. That's what people call me anyways.
If that is what people call you, what is your birth name?
Oh, it's a blissful mushroom haze, but kind of a mouthful, so I usually just go by Dave.
I like it. It's short, one syllable, and gets to the point.
A name is just a noise you make when you need someone's attention.
That is true. Very insightful. And I guess that leaves us with Vola, as he'll extend a gesture out to Vola. It is a pleasure to meet those of you who I have not yet. I have met Rain in the past. I do have the pleasure and the honor. As he reaches into his bag, he pulls out 5 wayfinders. The compasses that you know are to be the mark of a true Pathfinder agent. And he sets one in front of each of you, as well as Rain. He'll take the borrower, the lender wayfinder that you guys got on your mission, as this one is truly yours, to be touched by no one else. First and foremost, on behalf of the Grand Lodge, I apologize for the lack of a ceremonious induction. However, I am honored to be the one to offer you the status of society agents. some of the lodge heads are very interested in what you all stumbled upon in the Verdurn Forest, and they sent me immediately. My mission is to oversee a thorough investigation of that crypt. The others and Rain will join in on a 24-hour operation as we investigate further, perhaps some digging if necessary. My other directive is to give you four your official mission. We're all very curious of who those men were that kidnapped Rain and coerced him to guide them to the crypt, what they wanted from the crypt, and where they went. All of us will travel back to the crypt, and you four will be tasked with tracking them down. Before we continue, as he takes a seat, I would like you to give me a full report on what happened at the crypt.
Where you tell me that we graduated?
Yes, you have completed your confirmation. You are now full society agents. Congratulations.
Oh, man. A big grin is just going to come over Dave. He's just going to like grab Rain by the shoulders and shake him like, we did it, man. We're Pathfinder agents now.
A little dew is coming off of Rain's cheek.
Maggie is gonna nudge Tack and be like, look at this, Tack, isn't it cute? Look at us go.
I kind of always thought I was an agent. I just needed the seal of approval.
Oh, of course. But now you have that.
Positive self-image is important, man.
It was always a case of when, not if, with you, Tack.
Thank you, sir.
Now, with the report.
Well, as we arrived in Casimir, we tracked down the Leshy's former whereabouts. I'm sorry, Rain's former whereabouts. And through some investigation, we learned that he was abducted by a band of bandits or ruffians and taken against his will into the forests.
Truly
We were able
awful.
to... Yes, they left him for dead, but we were able to follow the tracks and pick him up and bring him back to health. Apparently, the ruins were not the ancient ruins he suspected, but something much, much newer.
Mm-hmm.
And upon investigation, we found some members of the original bandit party, as well as others that we'd never seen before or heard of. And these others, they bared this symbol. I'll slide the symbol of the moth with the skull back to him. And we believe they're some sort of cult.
This is the symbol to Urgathoa, the goddess of undead and gluttony.
That's awful.
That is concerning.
Well, there were two women in that crypt. One of them was not alive anymore, but still moving. And the other was very much still mortal. But we dispatched both of them and opened the crypt to find what treasures they sought. And that's where Rain got his hefty sack from. He's going to motion to the big bulge that Rain's been carrying.
As I understood, when you guys breached the sarcophagus that was holding the armor, something tried to take over or gave you some oppressive feeling. Can you guys speak on that?
Oh, Dave ran out of the room.
I don't know. I was just really scared, man. I don't know what came over me.
Have you heard of Grave Knights?
Yes, of course.
We believe that this armor was a Grave Knight's armor.
When that lid was cracked, we all felt a sense of panic. It was unnatural. Made my skin crawl.
Yes, it was quite concerning.
There is a decent connection from the perpetrators bearing the symbols of Urgatoa, as well as you finding that this crypt belonged to a grave knight. My questions will be not for you, but hopefully questions that I can answer with this investigation, is what a crypt dedicated to a grave knight is doing in the Verduran Forest, and why wasn't that armor destroyed? The only true way to destroy a grave knight.
Well, at least the armor's in our hands, not someone else's.
And whatever you do, do not wear that armor.
So why do we not destroy it if you say it can bring them back?
I am curious on how old it is, and if it could be valuable information for us. A grave knight can return if someone else dons the armor. The grave knight will take over that body as a vessel.
Oh no.
And you trust these men that you are traveling with, that they will not do this?
Yes, I trust every fellow society agent with my life.
That's a lot of people you trust with your life, dear.
Yes, and I haven't learned to regret it yet. A little less than a decade ago, before all of you joined as trainees, you are all fully aware of what happened with the Whispering Tyrant here in Galarian, and I've seen many of my brothers fall to that lich. And from then, I took an oath to put my life on the line for my fellow agents if needed, as many others already had for all of us in that fight.
That's good of you, man.
That's quite honorable of you, Nezzy.
Now, with that settled, tonight we will enjoy the rest of the evening in celebration of your induction, and tomorrow the true work shall begin. We will take a few days' travel up the river, return to the crypt, and from there we will go our separate ways, where Rain and I and the others will stay at the crypt, and the four of you will begin tracking the cultists, the bandits, whatever they are.
Can I do a detect motive on this guy just to see if, I guess, general read to make sure that he's giving us all the information he knows?
Yeah, give me a private perception roll. What exactly is in your mind as you're trying to detect this man's motive? What are you looking for?
I guess just like withholding any information, or that he's trustworthy, I guess.
You find him as a little mysterious, but the confidence that you're kind of getting from him at least portrays that he knows, at least that he thinks he knows what he's talking about. So anything that might be false, he's not holding back from you. He would just be incorrect on, if that makes sense.
Okay.
In the immortal words of George Costanza, it's not a lie if you believe it.
Jesus.
Where, let's see, what's this like?
Oh, I can hear that. Are we partying?
Play Free Falling.
Free falling.
Over the course of the next few minutes, you guys do see a couple of passengers from the boat that just docked come in. The other society agents also return from the upstairs, where you can all assume are the rooms. As the sun begins to set outside, the atmosphere in the tavern gets a little more lively with some music. Nez pays for all of your drinks for the night, as now everybody can kind of get into a more relaxed stance, even with this kind of higher ranking society agent with you guys. Hey guys, Justin here. I'd like to take some time to talk about our sponsor, us. If you like what you hear and want to support the show and the studio, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/playpretendstudios. Becoming a patron can get you access to our community Discord, ad-free shows, and even live streams of our recording sessions, depending on the tier, of course. Your support helps me bring all of this to life, and as we gain more support, we can add more to the pipeline. On patreon.com/playpretendstudios, you can find my roadmap for the studio. Our first goal is to hit 100 patrons, and once we hit that goal, we're going to add a free-form discussion show, where another host and I will talk about all sorts of things relating to tabletop role-playing games, whether it's current events, game design philosophy, RPG horror stories, anything really. Projects beyond that in the roadmap include a Game Master Advice / theory crafting show, homebrewed content for your favorite systems on a monthly basis, and my personal favorite, a new game of the week show, where we play a new game for a few sessions to help spotlight games that don't get as much coverage as 5th edition or even Pathfinder 2nd edition. And last but not least, the final goal would be a second actual play show, but not one in 5th edition or Pathfinder, but Play Pretend Studios' own rule set, to be revealed at a later date. Once again, if you'd like to support the show, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/playpretendstudios and help us bring these projects to life.
Maggie's going to challenge Vola to a hand wrestle.
All right.
Nez is very interested in this. He'll kind of mention it to Tack and the others who are sitting at the table. Friendly competition is key to building camaraderie amongst the crew.
Come on, Vola dear. Let's see what these old muscles can do.
Now, what will be interesting to see is the effect that a loss would have on Vola's pride if she loses to Maggie. We can study this and develop our team building further after. So let's do a best out of 3. No, this is how I usually do it with arm wrestling contests. In Pathfinder specifically. I'm going to have... It's pretty similar to a best out of 3. If you would imagine like kind of a half moon, a semicircle. There is going to be your 12 o'clock position. That's where you guys start. There's going to be a 2 o'clock, a 1:30, if you will. And then a 3 o'clock and a 9 o'clock. A success shifts that momentum onto one side, and then if it gets further to the 9 o'clock, you win. While the other one, if it gets you to your 3 o'clock, then you lose. Does that make sense? That wasn't described that perfectly.
So a noon, 10 and 2.
10
Success
and 2,
moves you towards your side.
Yep.
Yeah.
There's basically, you have one step to like be able to afford a loss until your hand is slammed on the table, and you can push back to the noon, kind of like a little momentum gauge. So what we will do first is we will start with Vola and Maggie taking a seat. I kind of picture Maggie very carefully like unbuttoning her sleeve and rolling it up very crisply.
Oh yeah.
And let's roll a contested athletics check.
Oh no.
Vola, what did you get for your athletics?
Bruh.
I rolled a 19 with a plus 10 for a 29.
Maggie?
Ooh!
I rolled a 20, natural 20.
Damn, son.
With a plus 2 for 22, it's still not as good though. Maggie's athletics is only a plus 2.
Vola, as you begin this arm wrestling contest that to everybody spectating seems like it's a no-brainer. As you go to move your opponent's arm down, she has a surprising amount of strength, not to overpower you, but she resists you much more than you would have thought, as you guys are kind of locked in. Both of you are still in the 12 o'clock position, but now Vola, you kind of understand that, all right, I can take it up a notch a little bit, you know?
She didn't want to hurt me before, but now.
All right, let's do our next contested athletics check. Opposed athletics check, I guess, would be the proper terminology.
All right. I rolled a 15 for a total of 25.
And I rolled an 11 for a total of 13.
So, Vola, with that weird, underdog move of Maggie's, you put forth a proper amount of strength and get her right into that 10 o'clock position. Let's do one more. Potentially the last one.
I'm just going to point out that Maggie is just giggling like a mad woman. She's just like...
Until Vola crits and breaks your arm off. Just kidding.
Jesus Christ.
All right, what did you guys get on that athletics roll?
Rolled a 14, total 24.
Maggie rolled a 14 for a total of 16.
So you guys rolled the same, but much different modifiers is what I see. As the conclusion that everybody saw coming, as Vola gently slams Maggie's hand down on the table. A few onlookers cheer. A few are like, "Is it? Oh, it's okay. It's okay. The older woman challenged the orc. It's all right. She's not. The orc's not being mean."
Oh, good job, Vola. Look at you go.
That was well thought, Maggie.
I didn't think I could win, but you know how the brews get, and they just stop bubbling inside me, and I want to take you on.
Is Maggie abusive when she's drunk?
Oh my god.
Just a couple more brews in her, she starts beating the shit out of Tack.
Maggie looks for a good time when she's in a tavern.
Good to know.
Wait, that came out weird. Yeah.
I'm here for a good time, not a long time.
What do you think, Nezzy? Did you put some hair on your bald head?
I, of course, thought Vola would defeat you in mere moments, but you held your own there at first. That was very good.
Oh, I've raised a couple of piglets and a couple of children. You know, it's not easy.
That is for sure. Definitely not a lifestyle I choose for myself, but that does make sense.
Vola, I've got your next beer, dear.
No, it is on me.
Okay.
All right. Is there any other kind of challenge that you guys would like to challenge others or yourselves?
Well, I would say, as the night's going on and the revelry is happening, you would probably start to notice Tack sitting in the corner of the room, just sipping on his beer and staring at his wayfinder. While oddly enough, the local mouser for the bar tavern has just nestled its way in his lap, and he's kind of just, petting it, nestling into its, little spot.
Yeah.
And he's just sitting there staring while drinking.
Dave? Rain gets a little excited. He wants to wrestle you.
Yeah, sounds good. Let's go for it. I was going to say Dave is just hanging out with Rain, talking about how they're Pathfinder agents now and being all fucking excited about it.
All right.
All right, Omi, make an athletics check. Oof. Well, that's a nat 1 on the die. So he's got a whopping +9 modifier. He's actually fairly strong for a plant, but a nat 1 doesn't save you from much.
Well, oof. Okay.
See Rain.
Yeah, there is going to be a +1 to this.
Maggie is going to cast Prestidigitation and make a little sign that just says, "Go, Dave."
Oh.
Beautiful. I love it.
All right, Dave, you...
You know what? Do I have a hero point?
You do, yeah.
You know what? Dave is so inspired by Maggie's sign that he's going to use his hero point to re-roll that one because it's worth it. Oh, there you go. Roll to 16.
So now instead, it seems like Rain almost got you. But heroically, you push Rain's arm into his 10 o'clock position as anyone who doesn't... I don't think anybody really quite has noticed. Rain's inventory of skills is more akin to a bard. With a strength of +1.
Dave's vapid eyes just kind of like grow with wonder, and he gives a thumbs up to Mags when he sees the sign. You know, it's what gives him like the inspiration to keep going and try harder.
Oh, Rain looks around for his muse and is like, "Oh,
oh, poor Rain! Oh my God,
you got this, Rain."
Seeing this, Maggie is going to put in brackets "and Rain!" !
All right, let's go ahead with our next opposed.
Now, I'm sorry, but does that give Rain a hero point to reroll?
No, he's an NPC. So on the next opposed roll, Rain gets a total of 8.
Oof. And what does Dave get? Oh, a whopping 19 in total.
And he gets Rain's hand right on the surface of the table. As Dave has won, Rain kind of just shrugs and be like, "Yeah, you were always the strong one."
Dave is just kind of like flex his muscles, you know, or like pantomime at least, because he doesn't actually have muscles, so he's just kind of bending his curly arms.
Just a vine.
Yeah, exactly. He was like, "Yeah, I like to wrestle bears for fun."
Really?
Yeah, man. They're cuddly. Like, once you get them in a bear hug, you know, they just love it.
I always just prefer to sing to them, and then they just fall asleep.
Oh, that's good too, man. Especially in winter when they're hibernating. Sing them a little lullaby. Oh. Sometimes I miss the forest, man.
I miss the forest too. I kind of don't want to go back to Absalom, to be honest.
I know what you mean. There's not enough trees. Everybody's so busy. There's so many things going on, and the cycle, it just... I don't know, it feels quieter, more random there. It's just different. It's cool. I like the change, but it's just not the same as home.
You know what would be cool? Maybe in 10 or 15 years, when we get a little higher ranking in the society, we establish a lodge in the Verduran Forest, and then we could just stay home.
And Dave's eyes just go like wider than one would think would be humanly possible, except that he's a plant. That's such a good idea.
That's my one.
Can we? You think they put us in charge?
I mean, if we play our cards right, I think they would.
Imagine giving guided tours to everybody through the Verduran Forest. It's so pretty there. It's a shame visitors are so strongly discouraged. People should really be allowed to appreciate the splendor of nature.
We could help protect it.
Yeah, protect nature, protect people from nature. It's all part of the cycle, man. I like it.
Vola will make her way over to Tack. Say, you are not one for celebrating?
Well, I'm celebrating of my own sorts. I'm actually quite happy that this is the resulting of our success rather than some pompous ceremony of walking around and speaking words no one gives a shit about. This feels a lot more honest.
I respect Tack's candor.
You do have to take advantage of the free drinks, though.
Oh yes, I'm. He's been healthily sipping, but not getting too rowdy. Yeah, it's a habit on the ship. You learn to partake, but not overindulge. The morning always comes with the sunrise.
That is good advice.
Nez is going to take a seat next to you, Vola and Tak. How are you enjoying the evening, the two of you?
I'm finally thinking about more of my future. You know, so much has been focused on this little circular compass. Now that I'm here, it's kind of a change, you know, that you weren't quite expecting. It happened, and making the next steps are what you have to plan out.
And correct me if I'm wrong, Tak, but I believe at one point you were uncertain if you would even have a future.
Yeah, and once you showed me the way to the society, that became my next goal. And now that I'm here, it's kind of the freedom is shocking.
I will remind you, and Vola, while you are here, this will be a good lesson for you as well, hopefully. As I understand, you're from the north. Is it the Belkson Hold?
Hold of Belkson.
As you are from the Hold of Belkson, I worked with many of your people in the fight against Tarbafon. Don't forget your past as you move forward on your path. And I want to tell you a story to kind of follow that little piece of advice. I lost many friends in the fight against the Whispering Tyrant, in the dozens. And somehow I was the lucky one to survive. And for a time being, I was racked with what some call survivor's guilt of, you know, why were my companions the ones chosen to fall, and I was the one chosen to survive. And it took a few months to get out of this rut. And I discovered a piece of my family history. Centuries ago, if the war between Geb and Nex, if you are unfamiliar, it waged for centuries between a land of undead and a very magical land of spellcasters. And that is where I come from, is Nex. Well, my ancestor fought for Nex. He was known to defeat armies of undead as he rose quickly in the ranks of Nex's armies. And through some turn of events that I haven't been able to discover yet, the legend goes that he discovered some questionable armor, not unlike the one that you have discovered in your crypt. And this armor granted him such great power that he chose to use that power for the wrong. He went against the nation of Nex with that power. He slaughtered many, with just a battalion of 5 others behind him, until finally he was taken down by agents of Pharasma, who I follow myself, and they sealed away his armor. The rumors is underneath the Mana Wastes, and that is a location between Nex and Geb. The warfare saw so much magical energy that it's unlivable for starters in that space, as well as home to bizarre creatures, powerful creatures, bizarre phenomena. And I've decided to make it my personal mission to seek that armor and use it for good instead. And with that nugget of my past in mind, hopefully bring a better future for myself as well as all of Galarian. What nugget of your past, Vola, would you hold on as you proceed further in your path?
There is much of my past that I do not wish to think about, but without it I would not be where I am today. I think being part of the Thieves group really changed my perspective on the world and allowed me to trust individuals more and work with people, I guess.
Yes, it does seem that as a collective, when not only are you putting your life at risk, but you're also actively breaking the law, whether it's in a morally gray situation or just black and white, that you kind of must learn how to trust in each other, or else that's a life of constantly looking over your shoulder.
Unfortunately, I do not possess all of the skills necessary to pull off things on my own, so it is good to go in as a group sometimes.
And none of us do. None of us possess anyone who claims to be a master of all is horribly mistaken. They are simply they might be good at all, but they are an expert at nothing. And that is a good piece of knowledge to keep with you, is that you will always need a team. Tak and Vola, this question is for the both of you. Coming off of that, do you feel that you can trust the other two in your party?
I definitely feel like there's more to them than they seem. They have proved reliable and competent, even when they don't appear to be.
And you, Vola, coming from a thieves group, how do you feel about your newfound compatriots that don't have a career in lying to others?
Wow. Yes, I agree with Dak. I think that we all work together well, and each have our own uses.
They both seem very genuine and open about who they are as people. And it's not a bad thing to learn from. Don't be afraid to open up to them as well. As you break down the walls and open up your vulnerabilities to each other, it'll help you in the field. If you come to a life or death situation, you will fight for those who know you, and you know them, and you care for them in that way.
It sounds as though you are speaking from experience.
Yes, everything that I do now gears towards the goal of making this world a safer place after the defeat of the Whispering Tyrant. As you know, liches, they rarely ever truly die. And so his return is inevitable, and my goal is to make sure that return would be very brief.
Are you not worried that you will find the armor, and then after you have passed away, it will fall into evil hands again?
That is a terrific question, Vola. One that I have pondered on here and there. I have faith in those around me to continue to make the correct decisions. If I were to pass and the armor were to fall into someone else's hands.
And you do not think it would be better just to destroy it?
Where it is now, hidden underneath the Mana Wastes, as I believe, The armor is as good as destroyed. Now, a little thing that I will share with you is the rumors or the legends of why it is under the mana wastes is that the armor could not be destroyed. So the best option, the best backup plan was to seal it away in an inhospitable location. And if such a powerful tool existed that could be used for good, I believe it would be better off used that way and risk the potential downfalls of it falling into the wrong hands, but in the end using it for good if you have the ability. I believe it is our responsibility to take that risk to protect others.
I'm not sure if I agree with you, but...
And that is fine.
If that is what you think is best.
You definitely never have to agree with me, and I respect that you tell me that you don't agree. Does anybody else have anything heavy we want to share?
Maggie's in a corner just dancing to herself.
This is like in the background of this serious conversation. Maggie is just getting her moves on. I'm really white, sorry. She's getting down with it. Kind of off as Rain is probably playing an instrument. Imagine Dave maybe passing some things around.
You guys want some tea? I made it myself.
You know, Dave, I would appreciate some tea.
Here you go, man. When you drink it, I recommend introspective thoughts. It's an experience, you know?
Interesting. He'll take a sip followed by a gulp, followed by finishing it off. Setting the teacup onto the table. Dave, from what I understand, from what I've read on your file, you are from the Verduran Forest, yes?
I am, yeah. Born and raised.
And you were assigned of protecting the forest at one point.
All leshies are made for a purpose, you know? Mine was helping to protect the cycle. So yeah, I spent my whole life living in that forest, protecting people from nature, protecting nature from people.
How does it feel being home?
It's nice. I missed it, you know? The city's different. It's interesting. It's not the same. But, you know, I'm excited to try new things. I like to think that one day I'll get back to the forest or maybe some other forest, and I'll take what I learned and do better at what I'm supposed to do.
And I would be excited to be able to take you on a trip one day. Perhaps a mission could take us there to the country of Nex. And the capital is a metropolis not quite unlike Absalom. It is very dense with people, but it's very magical. Magic is used everywhere you look to do such mundane tasks. It's quite a sight to see.
Honestly, one of the things I love about the city is how different everything is. Every day you can see something new, something you've never seen before. It's crazy to think about. I love it.
Is that why you became a Pathfinder Society agent, is to broaden your horizons and see more that you've never seen before?
Partly. The forest gets, I don't know, it's the same, you know? The cycle is endless, but it's repetitive? I don't know if that's the right word for it, but there's just so many new things in a city that I haven't seen before. It's cool. And, you know, I was looking for people.
And I think you could rest assured, I think that you will continue to experience new things with the society. And he's gonna hold up a hand, kind of wave it at Maggie, as she's dancing, Maggie.
Oh, yes, dear. How can I help that beautiful, beautiful face of yours?
We're all sharing our feelings over here. If you'd like to come and join the circle.
Feelings are one of my favorite topics.
The feeling circle.
Paul is just gonna look over at Tack what the fuck did we get into?
He's gonna take a cup of the tea, pour some whiskey into it, and just start drinking more heavily.
Fuck, man, whiskey and mushrooms? That's intense.
Tack's an intense guy.
Maggie, we've been speaking about our past, our reasons for getting into the society. Maggie, what was your life like before you came?
Oh, it was quite different from the one that I'm currently leading. I had a husband, 2 dear children. I was very, very popular in my little small village there. You know, my husband Arthur, he grew up across the road from me. The poor thing couldn't even get me outside of my village. When I moved, I wouldn't move away from the street.
And what changed from never wanting to leave your street to now you find yourself in Casimir?
Well, you know, dear, all things must come to an end eventually. That's what we would say on the farm, at least. And, well, poor Arthur, he's not with us. Maggie's gonna put her hand on her heart and kind of look a little bit forlorn and be like, but he would want me to continue on. And, you know, we had many a topic come up at the local tavern. Adventurers would pass by and Arthur and I would listen, and, you know, we would always say to each other, one day when we retire, we'll adventure ourselves.
You have a resolve that I assure you many would admire and wish that they themselves would possess.
Oh, thank you, dear. But, you know, it's all for my dear Arthur and my dear, dear children and my grandchildren, and they're the ones back at home looking after the farm, or, well, at least the land, and, you know, they've got their own families to look after and things like that. I wasn't really needed anymore, to be honest, but I'm having a lot of fun with this new group. I feel like I can cook a decent meal for them, and that makes me happy.
And I think with you here, with these other 3, that you are helping your family more than you would ever know.
Well, dear, I don't know what they need. We're a little bit of an old sack like me, but anything I can do to help out an old soul, a young soul, any soul, actually, I will take that on.
Now let's enjoy some more of Dave's delicious tea and take to rest, and I will meet you in the front at the crack of the sunlight, and we will take off in the morning.
I've always got more tea, man.
Well, I bid you all a good night, and I am very optimistic about the team that I am seeing grow in front of me.
He said moments before we were all killed.
By him? Just kidding.
Jeez, can you imagine?
He is
Turns out he's level 20 in chaotic evil.
Just burns the place down.
He's gonna stand up, kind of brush some dust off his cloak, and head upstairs to his room. I believe in passing of the time, you guys were all dealt some keys to your rooms as well.
As he leaves, and Tack's been listening to everyone's kind of backstories a little bit and discussions, he's kind of kept an eye, just a quiet eye and listening. And he's gonna say out to the group, he's like, now, I realize that we're all quite different, but tonight has showed me that even though we're different threads, we can all hold the same sail. All of our histories kind of brought us here for a similar purpose, in my opinion. We all noticed that there's more that needs to be done
we weren't able to achieve what we needed to from our current or our previous positions. And so I'm starting to see why this group is actually functional.
Maggie's just going to reach over and hold his hand with both of hers and start crying and just tapping his hand.
Aw, I like you too, Tack.
That's very nice, dear. That's very nice.
Well, you gotta add common ingredients to the stew or else the flavors clash.
Oh my goodness, that's so true.
It's nice to see that we all have a similar background.
And I, as a player, will feel my heart grow 2 sizes that day.
You should get that checked out. Everybody gets a hero point for some damn good role playing.
Aww.
You'll need it when I kill you.
Jesus Christ.
Chronicle uses trademarks and or copyrights owned by Paizo Inc., used under Paizo's community use policy. We are expressly prohibited from charging you to use or access this content. Chronicle is not published, endorsed, or specifically approved by Paizo. For more information about Paizo Inc. and Paizo products, visit paizo.com.
I know a French joke.
Yeah. All right,
What are the... how does it go?
Oh, this is where he gets canceled. Hold on.
No, it's...
we don't have any listeners in France
what,
yet.
did you hear about the 3 French cats that went swimming?
Oh no.
Oh, the 12 cats sank.
No, that sounds bad.
For those of you unaware, that's 1 through 5 in French. So, yeah, that's the joke there.
Cool. So Maggie took